Hey Facebook, happy Thursday. I'm coming to you from outside this time. I can't stand sitting in my car, although I'm definitely out and about in my car a lot these days, so it's nice to be out at a bunch of events safely at a distance and wearing a mask. I wanted to start off today with a little bit about the upcoming special session because that's dropped into the news a lot and there's some details about that I thought that might be helpful. First of all, it's looking like the special session, so the governor has called the legislature into special session. He's the only one right now that has the power to do so because we did not leave. The legislature shut down abruptly, and there was no marker there to call us back. So the governor has called us in, and he has called us in on two specific issues, which is absentee ballots, access to absentee ballots in November in particular, and police accountability. So it is now likely that we will be coming into special session the week of July 20th, probably the latter part of that week. For how long, we don't know, but limited to those two topics. From a logistical perspective, we've installed some new technology in the House chamber that will allow us to vote remotely from our offices in Hartford. We do have to be present in Hartford, but we'll be able to vote from our offices, and only those who are speaking on the particular bill will go into the chamber pretty much one at a time so that we can keep the number of people down and keep everybody safe. The building will be, I think, only open to legislators and staff who are necessary to that session. So the absentee ballot I've talked about before, it is still much debated, as you've seen, but it is fairly straightforward, which is to say the governor issued an executive order allowing anyone, in the absence of a vaccine, allowing anyone to vote who is eligible to vote in the August primary to vote by absentee in order to protect their health with COVID, against COVID. Our legislation would mirror that. And so some of the issues are how to define specifically what it means to have a vaccine and to ensure that definition means that a vaccine is both widely available and effective and safe. So there's some language going on about that, as well as the logistics of counting absentee ballots. The police accountability bill, we're all still, we ordinary legislators are waiting to see what the final language of that is. It's likely to be the beginning of a conversation and not the end of one, because again, this is special session. We can't hold hearings on things. This is not the normal course of events. So we're starting off with a certain straightforward accountability measures, and then putting markers down for more information to look more deeply into the more systemic issues. So that is, as you may have read in the press, is being very much negotiated at the moment with the four leaders of the Judiciary Committee, which is to say the Senate Chair and the House Chair, Senate Chair Gary Winfield, the House Chair Steve Staffstrom, and the ranking members, the senior Republicans on those committees. Senator Kissel and Representative Rabimbas. And they are spending a lot of time on Zoom working out the details of that bill, and we hope to get that soon, certainly before we go into session. So procedurally, once we're in session in July at the governor's call, we have the ability to put a marker down to call ourselves back into special session later on in the summer or in the fall, before the election. And so we are discussing the possibility of having a second special session in September that would be a broader COVID response, that would include, bills that are specifically aimed at urgent needs in the wake of the pandemic, things that have a particular ticking time frame to them, things that have to get addressed urgently, and also a handful, when we do expect it to be a small number of bills that had hearings, have wide support, are all completely drafted, and that they're pretty much, they're straightforward and fairly should be fairly easy to vote on. So that's what, if we do have a second special session later this summer, that's what that's likely to look like. Just procedurally, just note that again, these are special sessions, so there are all kinds of rules that we're much more constrained. In addition to not having hearings and committee meetings and all the, and having the public in the legislative office building, legislators I can't raise legislation in this. In fact, committee chairs really can't. The only people who can put things on the agenda for a special session are our leadership. So they are very much reaching out to committee chairs about the specific urgent and bipartisan bills that we can put in front of the broader body later this summer. And the third part that I just want to note on that is at least as the discussions that I have been part of to date, whatever we do is unlikely to be bills that have much of a budgetary impact, because Connecticut's budget, like every other state in the country, is hit very hard by the pandemic, and so almost all of everything we do budgetarily will relate to what the federal government does for the states, and so we're all awaiting that before we make budgetary decisions going forward. So that's sort of a background on special session. So I wanted also to talk about a couple of recent events that I've had. It's nice to have events, I think I said at the beginning. Last night I did a town hall on Facebook with several of the student organizers for the Black Lives Matter protests and events in the district over the last several weeks, and all either college students or recently graduated college students or just newly minted high school graduates. I think I had about 6 or 7 of them on now. It was really a great conversation, and it's so nice these kids are super informed. They're doing a lot of research. They have a lot to say that we need to listen to, and I'm really glad to see them out there being leaders in our community, and I really enjoyed that conversation. So if any of you are listening, thank you for tuning in last night, or thank you for participating last night. It was a real privilege to be with you. I look forward to hearing your voices for many years in the future. Another really fun thing that I did this week, you might hear, I'm sitting outside today, as you can tell, so you can hear my other neighbors, which is to say the birds and the cows and things like that. I got to band kestrels earlier this week and participated in a project that's been going on. I think it's the American Kestrel Nest Box program, which has been going on for about 40 years, I think. That has really done a lot to save these birds. And you may notice, if you drive past and see a large bird box mounted on a tree overlooking a field, that might be a kestrel box. And so several of us got to, on super secret, they keep the locations of where there are actually nestlings pretty private so that they can protect the birds. But we had 5 feisty nestlings that were pulled out and banded and given a little health inspection to see how they're doing. And that was incredibly fun, and it's nice to see. I call out to Art Gingard and Sharon Audubon for all the work that they have done, really making real change in bird populations, not just with kestrels, but bluebirds. You see bluebird boxes around here. The bluebird box has been really instrumental in bringing the bluebird population back around here, and I know the birds around here are pretty important. So I wanted to give a shout out to them too. I also went to an event celebrating 5 Points Gallery at the end of June finalized its acquisition of the Yukon Regional Campus in Torrington, which had been shut down, and they're going to turn it into this incredible art center. And I got to tell you, the will and the vision of Judy McElhone and the others at 5 Point is really incredible. And they have a lot of great ideas, and they're sort of camping out in the space and figuring out what they're going to do with it next. So it was really fun to be with them and to celebrate that, what really, could be a great cultural center for Torrington and for the whole region and for the state. So congratulations to 5 Points, and it was great to be with you for that. Couple of upcoming events that I just wanted to draw your attention to. One I've pointed out before, which is there is free COVID testing at North Canaan Town Hall on July 15th from 10 to 2. You do need to register in advance to do that. I will post the number here again. It was in my newsletter earlier this week, but I'll post the number on this when I finish so that you'll have that available. And also there is a food drive to support the Corner Food Pantry in Lakeville on July 10th. And community members are asked to help support the increased need of the Corner Food Pantry by donating non-perishable food items on Friday, July 10th from 9 to 5. That is at the details of this will be in my newsletter that'll go out later today, but it's at the Salisbury Bank branch on Bissell Street in Lakeville. So maybe I'll see you at one of those events, and I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks, everybody.